Look at this wall. Impressive, isn't it? Employee of the Year, top debater, master of logic, the man who is never wrong. I spent 40 years building this wall. I call it the ego wall. Every certificate you see here represents a battle I won. Every trophy represents an argument I dominated. Every plaque represents a time when I proved someone else was stupid and I was smart. And do you know what this wall actually is? It is a prison, and I am the only inmate. I want to tell you about a disease I had. It wasn't a physical disease, it was a mental one. I was addicted to being right. I treated every conversation like a courtroom. If my wife said, "Thomas, the sky is blue," I would say, "Actually, honey, it's not blue. It's a refraction of light through the atmosphere appearing blue." I wasn't trying to connect with her. I was trying to correct her. I needed to be the smartest person in the room. I needed to have the last word. I thought that being right was the same thing as being respected. I remember the night my son David left home. He was 18. We were arguing about politics at the dinner table. He had an opinion, a young, naive opinion. I could have listened. I could have said, "That's an interesting perspective, son." But no, my ego wouldn't let that slide. I had to destroy him. I pulled out facts. I pulled out history. I pulled out logic. I humiliated him in front of his mother. I made him feel small. I won the argument. Oh, I crushed him. He stood up. His face was red. There were tears in his eyes. He said, "Dad, you're right. You're always right, but you're also a jerk." He walked out the door. He didn't come back for Thanksgiving. He didn't come back for Christmas. I sat at the head of the table, eating my turkey alone, surrounded by my rightness. The food tasted like ash. You see, I treated relationships like a zero-sum game. In order for me to win, you had to lose. In order for me to be right, you had to be wrong. But relationships aren't a game. They are a dance. And if one person is winning and the other is losing, then you are both losing. I had a wife. Her name was Margaret. She was the kindest soul I ever knew. She didn't care about logic. She cared about feelings. She would say, "Thomas, I feel lonely." And I would say, "That's irrational. I am in the house 12 hours a day. Statistically, I spend more time with you than the average husband." I argued with her feelings. I invalidated her reality. One day, she sat me down. She looked tired. She said, "Thomas, do you want to be right or do you want to be married?" I laughed. I said, "I want to be right and married because being right is important." She left me a year later. She didn't leave because of another man. She left because she was tired of being corrected. She was tired of living with a judge. She wanted a partner, not a prosecutor. When she left, I was angry. I told my friends, "She's unreasonable. Look at the facts. I paid the bills. I didn't cheat. I was a good husband." I laid out my case. I had evidence. I had logic. And my friends nodded. They said, "Yeah, Thomas, you're right." But here is the thing about being right. It doesn't keep you warm at night. It doesn't hold your hand when you are sick. It doesn't laugh at your jokes. I am sitting here in this big house, surrounded by my awards, and I am the loneliest man on earth. I have 5,000 facts in my head, but I have 0 people in my heart. I realized too late that kindness is higher than wisdom. It is better to be kind than to be right. If I could go back to that dinner table with my son, I would shut my mouth. I would listen. I would say, "Tell me more about why you think that." I wouldn't correct his facts. I would connect with his heart. Because who cares who is right about politics? Who cares? In 10 years, the politics will change. But the relationship, that is forever. Or it should be. If I could go back to Margaret, when she said, "I feel lonely," I wouldn't pull out a spreadsheet. I would pull her into my arms. I would say, "I am so sorry. How can I fix it?" I would choose her feelings over my facts. Young people, listen to me. You have an ego, we all do. It is a little wall that you build around yourself to feel safe. When someone challenges you, the ego screams, defend the wall, attack, prove them wrong. Ignore the scream. Take a sledgehammer to the wall. Be wrong. Be the one who apologizes first, even if you think you didn't do anything. Be the one who says, you might be right, even if you know they are wrong. What does it cost you? It costs you nothing but your pride, and pride is a cheap currency. You can't buy anything with pride except loneliness. There is a Japanese concept called kintsugi. When a bowl breaks, they fix it with gold. They don't hide the cracks. They highlight them. They believe the bowl is more beautiful because it has been broken. My life is broken now. I am trying to fix it with gold. I called my son last week. I said, David, I was wrong about everything. He was silent for a long time. Then he said, Dad, I don't care about who was wrong. I just missed you. We talked for an hour. I didn't correct him once. I didn't interrupt him once. I just listened. And for the first time in 40 years, I felt a different kind of victory. I wasn't winning the argument. I was winning my son back. Don't build a wall. Walls keep enemies out, yes, but they also keep love out. They keep your children out. They keep your happiness out. Tear it down. Be humble. Be soft. Be kind. Because at the end of your life, nobody will remember if you were right. They will only remember how you made them feel. Do you want to be the smartest man in the graveyard, or do you want to be the most loved man in the graveyard? You have to choose. You cannot be both. Choose kindness. Always, always choose kindness.